Oh,
Yeah.
was our last pod
Our last pod
before
was
our
like a
surgery?
month ago. Yeah.
Oh my god. Yeah, the surgery was 3 weeks ago, so I guess it was before the surgery. All right, slightly graphic content. Look at the scar. Hold on, I'm going to show the viewers first. Then look at this. Look at it. It's crazy. This happened 2 months ago at this point. It's been 60 days since the accident, and I'm still dealing with it. I feel like not being able to use my left hand has just become part of my identity at this point. But you know what they say? Everything in life can be solved with more money and a positive attitude.
Andrew, only
And
you
this
say
one
that.
required
Only
a lot
you
of
say
money.
that.
Okay.
You know
Well,
what they say. You know what Andrew says.
More money and
I
a
took that
positive
from
attitude.
A YouTuber. Yeah. And I look up to that quote. This case
That you made
especially
yourself.
required a lot of money
Mm-hmm.
and a little bit of positivity.
I think positivity solves most of it, but money does help.
Nope, money absolutely solved the majority of it. Positivity.
I don't think
mildly
Andrew
helped.
on his own without money is that positive of a person. I think money makes him a positive person.
The positivity
Rachel's
does
not
not
wrong.
exist without the money.
Speaking from when I was with Andrew during Denver and no money, that was not a very positive
Hey.
Andrew.
That's
Hey.
true. The Andrew that we knew
I can't
before,
even argue that. I
not
can't argue
super
with this one.
positive.
Do.
All right, let's check in and then get a little update in. I messaged the Rooftop Pod Discord the other day, and I was like, "Hey, sorry we haven't been posting in a while. Things have been kind of busy." And then I said we would update everyone on the next episode, which is this one. So
I have some blueberry banana black sesame noru
interesting.
smoothie right here.
Is that any
Oh.
good?
Oh.
I like it.
Blueberry's an
All right,
interesting
I'm
mix.
about it. I'm
Blueberry
about
and the
it.
taro is fire, but with the
I feel like you can't go wrong. Blueberry banana tastes good.
That's true.
Blueberry and black sesame are both. I was actually having a talk with this with my friend who I guess is not really on TikTok because there kind of was a trend where people would like wrap Fruit Loop or Fruit roll-ups around ice cream, and then because it's so cold it'd become like crispy.
Crunchy.
And he's like, ew, that's he's like, oh, that's disgusting, that doesn't work. I'm like, what do you mean? Oh, fruit roll-up plus ice cream?
It's just
like
all sugar.
Fruit. It's all sugar. I'm like, when you mix sweet with sweet, very rarely does it not work. In fact, I can't think of any sweet plus sweet combination that doesn't work. And then he paused and he was like, yeah, I can't think of anything.
There are sweet and sweet combinations that are better than others, though.
Yeah,
There's-
some are kind of like,
None of them. The
actually,
floor is
no,
high.
like,
That's all I'll say.
yeah, I can't think of a sweet and sweet combination that's like, ew, that's bad. Because how do you go wrong with sweet plus sweet?
This is true.
I think
The only thing is if one of the sweet is slightly acidic, because ketchup is slightly sweet, but you wouldn't say ketchup is sweet.
No. Or okay.
So
yes.
there's
There are things that are sweet and savory too. I don't know. Bacon.
Sweet and savory also.
Apple
Yeah.
jam bacon.
But sometimes sweet and savory doesn't work, I think. I can't think of anything off the top
Oh
of my
no,
head. I
there
did
are
not
plenty
prepare
of
for this
things that
discussion.
don't work.
Like,
maple syrup and broccoli.
hey.
Wait, actually,
I
that
can
sounds
see
kind of
kinda-
good.
That kind of seems
I
kind of
could
fire.
see
I'm
that
not gonna
being
lie.
good. I'm not gonna lie.
It's like a honey glazed
Maple
broccoli.
syrup on cheddar broccoli soup.
That sounds
Also
like
fire.
it could be good too.
Also could be fire. I don't
Those
know.
are like sweet and savory combinations I would actually try. Ice
Chocolate
cream
on
and broccoli. Broccoli
All right,
dip.
Chocolate
yeah.
and spinach.
Yeah, that sounds not good.
Okay.
All right, there's definitely a ton of combinations there that would not work.
Toffee and ketchup.
Nice.
But ketchup is like acidic.
Chocolate
sort
chips
of.
with ketchup.
No, yeah, that would not be good. Well,
wouldn't be
I think
bad.
these combinations could go.
Chocolate chips on avocado toast.
That
Chocolate
sounds
and
fire.
eggs.
That sounds good.
Chocolate and
Chocolate
eggs
and
is interesting.
eggs?
No. Avocado. The chocolate chips on avocado toast. I feel like the
Chocolate
crunch and a
eggs.
little bit of sweetness. No.
You drizzle some
I
chocolate
think
sauce on your
praline
huevos in the mornings.
pecans.
I don't know.
All right, listeners, please try some of these and tell us how it tastes. I want to know.
Fruit Loops and broccoli.
Broccoli just doesn't
In
taste
milk.
that good with many things. Oh,
Lasagna with Fruit Loops.
with milk.
But see, I feel like it's not
Lasagna,
even
but the pasta is fruit fruit roll-ups.
meat sauce. It's like a texture issue. It's not even like a taste issue at that point.
There are a lot of
Laffy
issues going
Taffies
on
in
there.
tacos.
Okay.
All right, let's clap real quick to sync. On one. When I say one, you clap. All right. 3, 2, 1. Oh, nice. That was together for you guys. All right, one more time. 3,
okay.
2, 1. Nice. Okay. Welcome everyone to this week's episode of the Rooftop Pod. Sorry you guys for going missing for a couple of weeks here. We've all been busy, mostly Rachel, to be honest. Her senior year is hella busy. But I think we're all holding up pretty good.
Rachel grinding.
We wanted to start this episode off by checking in and updating everyone on our lives, because I think a lot of things have happened since the last time we met together for a podcast. So
Yeah.
does anyone want to go first? I feel like Rachel should go last because she has the most things to talk about.
I'll go first. I don't
Andrew.
think I have that many things. Well, if you follow me on my socials, you kind of know everything that's been going on in my life, but it's been surgery for the past month because of my broken finger. But we're on the come up now. It's finally getting fixed, and I think it'll be like completely done in like 2 weeks. But essentially right now, for those of you guys who don't know what happened, I broke my finger in a ski accident. I snapped the middle distal phalanx in half, or the middle phalanx. I don't know, whatever the middle bone of your
I'm going to
middle
put
finger
an
is.
X-ray up here.
Bing. It was in 2 pieces,
Ding.
so they made a little tiny cut in my finger. They realigned the bone and they stabbed the steel pin through it to hold everything together. And in 6 weeks, so 2 more weeks from now, they take the steel pin out and I can finally start doing PT. But it's kind of crazy because the accident happened 2 months ago and I haven't moved like my middle joint or the top joint since. So they're just like, oh, you might not get full range of motion back in your finger. I'm like,
This is one of those prove
It
them wrong
is what it is.
situations.
But it's your left
Hopefully.
middle finger. Like, what are you ever going to do with your left middle finger?
Climb.
I think just climbing, but that's about it.
Oh.
Which is okay. I think I can
I think
PT
it'll be
it
more
back,
stable, actually. Maybe.
but I can't
No,
bend
but you
it.
lose
Like, I
the grip
can't make
strength
this
of
act-
like the strongest finger.
Yeah.
Oh, is the middle finger the strongest for climbing?
Oh, I have no clue.
Oh,
I don't know. I don't
can see
know.
that.
I'm not a frequent climber.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think I'm doing well now. I think if we did this podcast like a couple weeks ago, especially 3 weeks ago, I'd be in
Down in the dumps.
a much worse
Mhm.
place. Yeah. It was hard to maintain a positive attitude. I'm not gonna lie.
Not enough money,
because-
huh?
Yeah, so I had to deal with insurance because essentially I turned 26. I lost our parents' health insurance. I had to enroll in my company's health insurance, and I had active coverage, but because I enrolled 4 days before my surgery, I wouldn't have the card back, and then I had to pay for all the surgery expenses out of pocket, and so I'm now like submitting claims and I hopefully can get reimbursed, but like I have lost hours of my life dealing with insurance at this point because none of this is like simple or straightforward. At first I was like, oh, there's like a chance I could just be out thousands, like many thousands of dollars from this. And I'm like, it's okay. It's fine. It's fine. Like I said, everything can be solved with more money and a positive attitude. But I was not very positive for a little bit. But no, we're on the come up now. And I also had a knee injury when I injured my finger. And I went to the surgeon again, or the orthopedics office. And they said nothing's wrong with my knee. It's just like inflammation of my tendons, which sounds fine.
Yeah,
Like I don't need
it'll go
surgery
down.
for it,
Mhm.
but it's also been 2 months and it still hurts. So they're like, oh, we might just do a cortisone shot if you come back in a
An
month and it still
injection.
hurts. Yeah. But like cortisone shots don't cure it. It just makes the pain
It
go away.
reduces inflammation.
Which,
So.
yeah. All that said, my body is broken, but it's less broken now.
Okay. And what kind of lessons did you learn from this experience, Andrew?
Always go
Make
to a
more
doctor,
money.
a real doctor, not
More
a med school
money and a
student,
positive
a real
attitude.
doctor. Always go to a doctor. Also, breaking a bone hurts, but it doesn't hurt as much as you would think if you've never broken a bone before. because I thought I
Does
jammed my
It
finger.
doesn't make a difference on like how big of a bone it is.
I think so. You're right. If I snapped my femur or my tibia, I'd probably be in extreme pain. But like since I snapped the middle bone, like I could still move my finger, and like I mean it hurt, but it wasn't like, oh my god, I'm gonna die.
Yeah.
They also prescribed me like opioids. Okay, here's another thing, random off tangent topic, but they prescribed me like Percocets, and they prescribed me like multiple days worth of Percocets, and I'm just like, oh my god, like this is gonna hurt a lot. This surgery is gonna cause me immense pain because it's, I don't know, they're prescribing some pretty strong painkillers.
Pretty standard, yeah.
And I think the United States has a problem with over medicating, because I took one of them and I was just like, this is fine. I think I took painkillers for the first day after, and then I'm like, everything else is manageable. Yeah, that's about
I think
it.
you also probably have a pretty high pain tolerance, considering you didn't think your finger was broken at first either. Like, I think different people will experience different levels of pain also.
That's also a good point.
So it's probably lean towards the safer side in terms of medication.
Yeah.
The thing is, I think in America, a lot of people are scared to go to the hospital or go to an ER because of all the fees that are associated, like the ambulance fee, the overnight, or just getting checked into an ER costs money. And I think that's the initial hesitance that we're almost trained to have in the U.S.
Yeah.
Which is kind of messed up, obviously.
It's pretty bad.
All right, let me finish too.
This is why we need free universal health care.
No. Yeah.
But,
so for some concept. Oh, okay.
But
he's back.
For you, and I didn't realize this, neither of us really realized this, getting the x-ray for a bone is actually very affordable.
Really cheap.
And you don't have to do it right away.
It's not cheap. Yeah.
It's not. It's like
$100.
It's not an emergent thing.
Yeah.
So, I think maybe a splint could have fixed it if we used the right one at the very beginning. But
I don't know. I think the bone might have been disconnected from the start.
I don't know. I could have sworn it was.
Yeah, I don't know. Who knows?
Bent the other way, but I don't know.
Who knows?
But yeah, it's an X-ray is only going to cost you like $60 to like $100 out of pocket, which is definitely worth doing if you ever break a bone.
Or think you broke a bone.
Because the healing process and the surgery is going to be a lot more intense if you let it heal incorrectly, which is what Andrew
they had to re-break my bone. But for some context, essentially what happened was in Denver, when I did get hit by that SUV, Mom and Dad were like, oh my God, go to the ER right now. And at that time, I was just like, okay, I'm going to go to the ER. So after insurance, like getting an ER or going to the emergency room same day, getting the x-ray, it costs $4,000, and then insurance covered half of it. So it was like $2,000. And I was just like, oh my God, it costs $2,000 for an x-ray. I did not.
Oh, you didn't get a CT?
I only got the x-ray. Yeah, I only got the x-ray on my arm.
I think you got a head or chest CT.
No, just an x-ray on my left arm where I got hit.
Oh, really?
Because I didn't hit my head or anything. But yeah, it was about $2,000, $1,900 something dollars. And I didn't realize, because I looked through the itemized receipt, and the bulk of that cost was the emergency room fee. That was like high thousands.
Yeah, wow, that's pretty insane.
Schedule,
that's
if
more
you
than
get hurt
rent.
and you think the pain is manageable, obviously if it's really, really bad, go to the emergency room if it is an emergency. But in hindsight, I should have just scheduled an x-ray the next day, because it wasn't, like I said, debilitating pain. Should have got the x-ray the next day, fix it right off the bat. So this kind of caused me 4 weeks of my life, 5 weeks of my life, where I would just walk around with a broken finger. Not the best thing I did.
Time is money.
Time is
but
money.
At the end of the
but
day,
it's fine.
I think you're fine.
It's fixed.
It didn't affect the outcome that much.
Character building experience.
Yeah. The doctor said that he probably still would have had to made an incision. The incision just would have been smaller. He also said I tore my tendons in my fingers, so he was set up. So like a surgery was necessary, no matter when I did it. But I was thinking about this, and I'd already told Jesse, and I think I also told Rachel. I was like, this is wild that I can break a bone in this day and age and get it fixed and be pretty much like, not 100% back maybe, but like 95, 99% back to normal and live the rest of my life like fine. If I broke this finger like 200, 300 years ago, you're screwed. You're done. Like, what did people do?
I mean, your bones
when
still
they
would have
broke their
healed.
bones? But there's no way I would have bent that finger for like the rest of my life because
if you let it
was
heal
literally
the way that it did heal, yes, it would not have been normal. But like, I think back then doctors were more crude with their methods. They would have just felt it and been like, oh yeah, it's disconnected, and they would have physically pulled it and like put it back in the right place. And splints have existed for a really long time. It would have been really painful, but it would have eventually healed, because like, it's not like they glued your finger together or anything. It's still just like being held together by a pin.
So let me rephrase this. We live in a day and an age where they knocked me out with a nerve block. I didn't feel any pain, and then they gave me opioids, so I didn't have to feel any pain afterwards either.
True.
I think
Crazy stuff.
the
Actually,
same could be
opioids have
same
existed for a long time too.
said about like pneumonia, like getting pneumonia, or like
Also
things that are
true.
easily treatable
Smallpox.
now. That like
Yeah.
if you got back in the day, you would just die.
Yeah.
A lot of different infections could have just like killed you. That's why our average life expectancy like doubled over a couple hundred years.
Yeah. Everyone's
medicine.
like, dude, I wish I was born like years ago. I was born in the wrong decade. Absolutely not. This is
The current time is
Who
the right
says
time.
This?
This is definitely the right time. Like, yeah, this time has problems, but hell no would I go back 100
Yeah,
years
but
back.
ignorance is bliss sometimes, don't you think?
Mm-hmm.
That's true. Maybe 200 years from now, people will be like, dang, 2024, they had it rough.
I mean, they might have cured a bunch of things in 2024 or
Yep.
2034 or however many years forward. All right. Well, Andrew, we're all glad that your finger's doing better now.
Thanks, man.
Are you still wearing a splint, or are you done wearing that?
No, I still wear a splint, but
Okay.
the doctor said if I'm like just chilling, I don't have to keep it on because the pin is holding everything together. The splint's
Nice.
more to like protect me
Like,
from hitting
protect it.
things.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, it is the splint.
All right. Really gonna quickly catch everybody up on the past couple of weeks. I went to a conference in Austin. It was an ophthalmology conference. It was really great. Met a lot of really cool ophthalmologists and a bunch of cool medical students in ophthalmology. And then the week after that, I went with one of my med school friends to Miami for like a boys trip, essentially. Super fun, really painful and bad for my body. I abused it a lot over the course of that weekend, but it was definitely a worthwhile trip. Made amazing new friends. My med school friend, introduced me to a bunch of his friends from home. And there's just something about like friends of friends. Like if you're really good friends with someone and then you're also really good friends with someone else and they don't know each other, but like you have this idea that they would get along really well. That was basically what my friend did with me and a bunch of his other home friends. And we all just got along super well. And it was great. We're planning on doing this same trip like every year now. We're going to try to do it annually. We're going to switch locations, but yeah, it's pretty cool to just meet a bunch of new people that I didn't know that well before. And just like spend a weekend with them in Miami. So that was cool. This past weekend, I went home. Our uncle from China is visiting, and he's actually closer to me and Andrew's age than to our parents' age. He's like early to mid 30s. And he's really interesting. He grew up in Nanchang, where our parents are kind of from. And then he went to art school, or he went to study art in Italy for 6 years, studying modern art. And then he went back to China, opened his own modern art exhibit. And Andrew and I have been, I forget, Rachel, have you been to his art exhibit?
I was there. Yeah.
Oh, you were there.
I don't think Andrew was there though.
Andrew was also
I was there the second time. You guys went twice.
Oh yeah, I went twice. I don't know if
Oh,
Rachel went
Oh.
once. You
Yeah,
guys both
so
went
Rachel
once,
wasn't there
so
the
I
second
went
time.
twice.
Yeah.
But yeah, we
Snark.
saw his art space, which is really cool. But I'm just not sure if like, there's an audience for that, especially where he lives in China. So it seems like he's like trying to decide if he wants to move to the U.S. He like traveled to LA, he traveled to New York, kind of scoping out things and seeing if it'll fit well for him. Anyways, Andrew met up with him in New York, and he was like, dude, our uncle can't speak a lick of English. And I'm like, how are you?
He can't.
How are you like communicating with him? So I guess your Chinese is
Basic
still
Chinese.
good enough to
It's good enough.
keep up with him. But this
Like a
weekend,
2-hour dinner.
yeah, I spent like the entire weekend with him and his wife, which was really fun because I got to like work on my Chinese a lot, which I actually enjoy doing now. I think before I would like try not to speak Chinese, but at this point in my life, like I look for opportunities to be able to try and practice Chinese. So that was really great. He loves golf, so I took him out golfing like both days of the weekend I was there. And yeah, just like introduced him to life in Ohio, and he was like, "Wow, this is what like true American lives are like." I'm like, "Yes." LA and New York are not representative of the majority of American lives, and this quiet little humble life that my parents live in Ohio is much more representative of what the typical day in American life is like. And he liked it. He was like, well, it's really calm and it's really quiet. You get a lot of space. And he enjoyed walking Winston. He was like, yeah, 我很喜欢出去遛狗, like, you know, just walk the dog around and, you know, just enjoy being in a peaceful, quiet setting as opposed to New York. I mean, there's a lot to be appreciated in New York. He probably is considering that over Ohio in terms of where he wants to move, but there are aspects of our parents' lives in Ohio that he really enjoyed. Speaking of Winston, our dog, coming back home this trip actually made me so sad because it's crazy because dogs, it almost feels like we just got him. It doesn't feel like we got him that long ago. It's like in recent memory, and
Been a decade.
It's been almost a decade, but like it still feels kind of recent because we got him while I was in college. And to me, he's always been like a puppy because like his energy is such like a puppy dog energy. He's got such young energy.
He still pees whenever he's excited.
Exactly. He can't control his bladder. Like he just gets super excited. And
he's
this time,
a little baby.
This time coming home was like the first time I felt like he was starting to get old, and that got me really sad because for the listeners out there, our dog recently went blind in both eyes because of glaucoma, and we realized it was happening maybe a month ago, but at this point
we noticed in November, so it was
like it was November. Okay,
He was blind in one eye.
It was Thanksgiving when I was like, oh, he cannot see out this eye, and then I checked his eye pressure and I was like, his eyes are hard as rocks, and that's the sign of glaucoma. And so basically it's an irreversible eye disease and he's completely blind. And I think for him it's also a new experience, which like he's noticing, and I think he's actually really sad about. I don't know if dogs can get depression, but I feel like I can feel his energy is just not as high anymore.
Yeah, he's a lot more anxious and like cautious. Like he does not move from the couch most of the day because he gets so lost.
Yeah. He doesn't leave that area.
He's like, yeah. And it's like when you get him food also, he doesn't get as excited because like he's scared that he's gonna bump into things, run into walls. You take him out for walks, he can't find the stairs to get down from our porch. So it's just a lot of things. Like I remember the first time I took him out on a walk, the first thing he did was run into a fire hydrant, and I went, "Oh my god!"
Oh, dude, seeing someone that you love start to get old is such a tragic experience, especially when it's like happening. I don't know. Because I feel like it happened all of a sudden for Winston. Like, he wasn't expecting this, and then all of a sudden he couldn't see. And now he's, like, trying to get used to life without eyesight. And I don't know, I just see him crying all the time. Like, I don't know if dogs cry, but he definitely, like, has a lot of tears coming. Yeah, no, literally, I have a picture of him with, like, a single stream of tear just running down his eye. So when I went home, I just like made sure I got to spend as much time with him as possible, just like sitting next to him. And like the only way he really knows you're next to him now is if you're like touching him in some way, because he doesn't really like he can't see that you're there. So, you know, I just make my presence known and just like sat next to him for a while.
And I think his sense of smell is also kind of bad because I would like get him food and he'd have to sniff around for the bowl for a really long time. So it's
his
like,
hearing's also not that great, but
oh my god.
Yeah.
I'm so sad. I'm crying. I haven't seen Winston in so long.
Yeah, and I think he'll eventually get used to it because it is a real new reality for him. But I think brains are adaptable.
I think dogs adjust.
Yeah, he'll get his bearings together. It's just right now he doesn't really leave the computer room. His safe space is like that couch that we have in our study room. So he always knows to look for that couch. And whenever he finds the couch, he's just like there for until he has to eat or has to go outside. He doesn't explore any of the other house anymore. Like he doesn't really go into the living room. He doesn't, because like it's just too much. There's just too many things there, and he doesn't think he can navigate it. But our computer room is like his like safe little spot. But I will say, he still gets excited when he sees people or hears that we're home.
He can't see.
Hears that we're home, and like he still gets really excited and jumps up and down, and it made me sad to see that. I think he was also sad and not used to his new reality. But I'm probably gonna try to go back home a little more frequently so I can spend more time with him, just because he's actually getting old now, and I don't think I realized it until now. Yeah, it's a cruel world that we live in. Anyhow, that was my last weekend. Andrew.
It's fine. I'm fine.
Yeah.
Go home.
Yeah, honestly, I think John's been a good person to be at home, because I sure don't trust mom and dad to like have a lot of empathy for a dog.
They don't.
But I was like to John when I was home, I was like, why aren't you sitting by your dog? Your dog is blind. Why are you just in your room? Like, go comfort your dog. He's so sad. And then he would like immediately grab a book, go downstairs, and then just sit by Winston and read for a couple hours. Yeah. I was like, that's so cute. Anyways, but
yeah, I made sure I gave him a few extra treats when I was home, and I don't know, just whenever I had a chance, I would just try to sit next to him. But Philip and John, just one thing that makes me really disappointed about them is that they don't seem to actually want a relationship with Winston, or like, I don't know, they don't love Winston, I think, the way that we might, which is sad, because I feel like growing up with a dog is such a privileged experience, and they didn't really take advantage of it. There are a lot of other things I'm frustrated about with Philip and John, but that's one thing that I wish they would have, spent more time with Winston, because I don't want to bring this up, but like I just feel like Winston's life at home is kind of like, I don't think he's super happy, just because like no one in the household actually goes out of their way to like hang out with him and show him love and affection. Mom and dad treat him as more of a chore / a running buddy. At least mom and dad will spend time with him, which is great, because like going on runs with him still takes a couple hours, and walking him every day. But then like Philip and John don't even do that, and then they don't even take any opportunity to play with him or like spend time with him.
Yeah, he doesn't get a lot of affection, that's for sure.
Oh, wow. I didn't think I cried this much. Huh. I really don't get why Philip and John aren't closer to Winston, because Winston really was their childhood dog. I only spent really a year with Winston, because we got him my senior year. But during that senior year, I did spend a lot of time with him. Yeah, a lot of late nights doing AP lit homework with Winston sitting next to me.
There's just like a generational difference. They don't care about anything outside of the virtual world where they can play video games. Every time I go home, I just get so frustrated, because they're just always on their phone or on their iPad or on their computer, and they don't appreciate any activities that don't involve something on a screen, which I feel like an old parent man complaining about that, but I think it's a real problem. Anyways, we can go into Rachel's past couple of weeks. A lot has happened. I already kind of spoiled it a little bit to the Discord. I told people Rachel kind of wrapped up the whole grad school application thing and got into her number one grad school choice. So applause. Congrats, Rachel, for getting into the top program for what she's trying to study in her next year. Rachel, do you want to fill in the audience a little bit about what that is?
About where it is?
Or
what?
where it is, what it is, where it is, anything and everything, whatever you're comfortable sharing.
Yeah, basically, I feel like it's not hard to guess if you know what I'm gonna be doing my master's in. I haven't like fully wrapped up the process yet. I just got my funding letter, which I was like semi disappointed with. Just because I thought it would be a little bit more, but I am like immensely grateful to have an offer at all, like a funding offer at all from the school. Like I didn't think I would get in, let alone like get funding from them. So very excited about that. But certainly I had my hopes up a little higher in terms of how much I would be receiving. But yeah, I will be leaving Ohio.
Yay! Woo! She's leaving me.
Bye, Jesse. And also Winston and Mom and Dad and John and Philip.
Yeah, but you're better off somewhere else.
Yeah, so I really haven't had the time to really think about what this actually means. I still have a little bit more time until I actually have to commit, because I am still technically waiting to hear back from one school. Although, again, not a huge deal if I don't get in there, because I'm happy with what has happened. But it was funny because, oh my God, I was so stressed out that week. And I can't remember. I think it was because I was really stressed about one of my homeworks, because I was like, oh my God, this is what grad school is going to be like for me. And I feel so stupid right now and I can't do this. And like, I'm just fully incapable of doing what I want to do. And then I went to bed like super upset with myself. And then the next morning I wake up to an email from the chair of the program saying congratulations. And I go, I shot up from bed. I had a 9 a.m. class. I woke up at like 8:30 to this email notification.
Fuck this class.
And I like immediately.
I'm done.
No, this class is women's self-defense. It's actually been really enlightening. I actually really enjoy it. But the thing is, so she has a really strict attendance policy, because it's like if you don't learn the technique, then you can't do it correctly, and it's like a safety issue. So like, makes sense why she has this. But I missed one class to go to New York to celebrate Andrew's birthday. And then I was tardy for another class because I just woke up late and I like sprinted to class. And this class is like a 25-minute walk from me.
Oh, Lord.
So it's like not easy to get to.
Oh, God. It's a far walk.
Yeah. And 2 tardies equals an absence, and you're only allowed to have like 2 absences. So I was like, so if I miss my next class, I'm dropping a letter grade, which is so embarrassing.
Oh my God.
I know. Anyways, so hopefully I don't know, we're halfway through the semester. Nothing bad has happened yet. Knock on wood. I have it tomorrow morning. Anyways, so I get this email. I shoot up from bed. I immediately start crying. I call the family group chat. Only Dad picks up. And I go, oh my God, I just got into insert school name. And he's like, oh, why are you crying? And I'm just like, oh my gosh, things like this don't happen to me. Because I think I've like had it. I like really undervalue the things that I do. Or like, I'm like really good at being really self-critical and being like, oh, I could have done more. I like should have done more. I could have been better in this area. I can do better in this area. So it's like really hard to actually like look back and be like, oh, I've actually achieved a lot, or like I've like done well for myself. So this was like a really good piece of validation. And I was like, and I was just crying yesterday about how I couldn't do my homework, and this morning I'm crying because I got into like top choice school. And it's just like a really like, all my friends are so supportive. Like they were all calling me one after another to congratulate me, and then like some of them like got me little gifts because they were like, congratulations. And I was like, I'm very lucky to have the friends that I have. But yeah, so that happened. And then more things happened, and then more things happened.
Nice.
Nice.
But you're still stressed.
Okay, so these past 2-3 weeks have been just a lot in terms of coursework, but also extracurriculars, also planning things for my friends, also my AirPods just died.
Yep.
Also, give me one moment. I don't know where they are actually. So I like barely use my left AirPod anymore because I got a new piercing, and it's just like the bacteria of like putting it in and out of my ears, like not great because it's so close to the piercing, but it doesn't actually touch the piercing. I'm out of breath. Anyways, I got invited to visit a grad program also. And like several of my friends lived in Seattle. It was in Seattle, so you can guess which grad program it was.
But she's not going there, so you can't find it there.
Most likely not, or actually, probably most definitely not.
You're not.
But yeah, like several of my close friends lived there, so it was a really nice trip to go and catch up with them. They're so lovely. They were great tour guides. Like phenomenal hosts. Like I'm so lucky to have them as friends. If there's any takeaway, it's that I love my friends. Anyways,
it's always the main takeaway.
But yeah, because I was like, I didn't want to like impede on their time because I was like, oh, I know I'm kind of notifying you guys as like a last minute thing. It was like right after Valentine's Day also, and I knew a couple of one of them had like plans for that day, so I was like, oh yeah, I'll like plan to do some solo exploring. But here's like a list of places that I would like to see if you guys want to join for any of that. And then like both of them ended up spending like the entire time with me, and I was like, oh my gosh, I feel so lucky and special. But yeah, so that was lovely, but it was a little disappointing because I really wanted to like the program. I would like wanted to fall in love with it because it was probably the only program that was going to fully fund me, and also like all of my friends are going to live in Seattle next year, and I know one of them especially really wanted to live with me, and I really wanted to live with her. And so like the first person I told after this trip was her, that I was like, I'm so sorry, but I really just did not click with the program. Like I would have loved to live here, like location wise and like people wise. I think Seattle would have been my number one, but yeah, the program was just not to like they have a great program, don't get me wrong. I think just the vibes of the program that I was picking up on, I wasn't a super big fan of, which I think is really important, especially if I was going to spend a longer time there. But yeah, so that was Seattle. And then I went home for, the weekend before that, I went home to celebrate the Chinese New Year. And that was really nice. Mom and Dad invited over, as they do, a couple families to celebrate. Lots of good food. Brought lots of food back. And then the weekend after that, after Seattle, I guess, which is it this weekend? No. Yeah?
This past weekend?
17th? Yeah. So this past weekend was like my first free weekend in anyway, start of last week was start of panic mode, because if any of you guys are civil engineers or engineers that have to take the FE exam, mine is scheduled for Monday, and I have not studied at all. And this test covers... No, like next week. Next week on Monday.
Oh, next week. Okay.
And this test covers the entire expanse of everything that I've learned in my 4 undergrad years. And it's like one of the tests that you have to pass to become a licensed professional engineer. And I just like, everyone had told me, it was like, yeah, you'll be fine. Like, you don't need to study that much for it. Like, your curriculum prepares you pretty well. And then I took a practice test and I went, oh no, I am.
But did you still pass?
So... What?
Did you pass it though?
The practice exam?
Yeah. Is it pass fail? I assume it's pass fail.
The practice? Like my self-proctored practice exam?
Yeah.
They don't tell you like what's the passing percentage.
Oh. There's
like
no like distribution historically?
No.
What?
I don't know. They don't reveal at all how they determine like whether or not you pass. Anyways, I did really poorly.
Okay.
And I was like, I actually forget everything that I learned because this past semester I did not take any technical engineering courses, and all my courses were like, good job for thinking. And and so I entered mega stress mode. And on top of that, I just had like a lot of things due. Oh, I also have to write my thesis. So my thesis is also due after spring break. Oof. And my PI is super absent. I'll like ask to meet with him and he'll be like, oh, I'm traveling. Do any of these days work for you? And I'm like, yes. These 2 times work for me. Let me know what time works best for you. And then he ghosts me. And the next week I'm like, okay, can you meet again? And he's like, no, I'm traveling again. And I go, oh my gosh, I'm never going to get my thesis finished. And I'm not going to pass my oral defense because you have not advised me at all on this thesis. Anyways, so that's also a stressor. I also have 2 midterms this week. So it's just been really busy. I think because I've been doing so much not school the rest of the semester, everything's kind of catching up to me at this point. Or like I haven't been doing things, you know what I mean? Like I've been doing things, but I haven't been doing taking care of my life things. Like I've been having fun, but I haven't really been sorting out my life, which I need to do because I need to graduate. And I need to make sure that I still get the scholarship money for my thesis. And I also need to pass this FE so I don't waste like $200 on this test and have to retake it and restudy for it and go through the whole stress cycle again. So just lots of things.
Dang, your senior year is way more stressful than my senior year.
I didn't have a senior year.
It wasn't last semester. It wasn't bad until I had to submit my grad apps.
School apps, yeah.
Yeah, because I was playing basically, like, I remember my mantra being, this is the year of play. And I'd tell everyone, I'd be like, nothing matters, you guys. Because I got back from New York and my one takeaway was, nothing is that serious. Life after college is just work. And I just need to play because I'm not going to be able to play that much once I'm
all these
working.
facts still ring true.
So I like came back. I was like, guys, we must all play. and then I did too much playing and now everything's like kind of catching up to me.
We need to stop playing.
Not everyone needs to stop playing. I just need to stop playing. Everyone else is doing fine. I think like I'm really feeling the brunt of everything that I signed myself up for like throughout the years of college is really hitting now because I have to transition out of all the leadership roles that I've taken on. And like, it's very easy for me to, do the things that I regularly do to maintain the clubs that I'm like in leadership for. But having to bring someone else into that and onboard them and like attend to their questions and like sort all the transition things out has been taking a lot of time. And also just like, the 3 jobs that I work, which like regularly, it doesn't take that much time. I forgot that spring semester, one of them just eats up like 20 hours a week and I go crazy.
It hurts me to hear these things that you put yourself through.
Sometimes I just forget how awful things are. And I remember when I visited Seattle, one of the people that I visited, I TA'd with. And I remember telling him last year, I was like, oh yeah, like my plan is to not be a TA next year. And he was like, so what happened to that? And I was like, haha.
Yeah,
so I'm still part of the program. I severely wish I was not. But yeah, that's been, just like having to sort things out, email people, text people, Teams message people all the time, like constantly being on my phone, like making sure that all the things are going fine has been really draining, on top of like needing to attend to my own things and like make sure that I'm studying enough and make sure that, like it's just been a lot. And so I've been running a lot recently because I'm running away from my problems and I've been running like significantly faster than I usually run also because I'm running away from my problems. And it kind of hurts, not gonna lie. I think my shins are probably developing some problems.
Oh no. Wait, you should stop running
Just kidding.
away from your problems, but also stop running.
No, I'm kidding. It actually doesn't hurt that bad.
Sounds like shin splints, potentially.
But
is that like me saying my finger doesn't hurt that bad, or is that like it doesn't actually
like
hurt
genuinely,
that bad?
I've only I haven't run that much. I'm exaggerating here, but
okay, word.
It is like it's a good, I think, like because I don't really go to the gym anymore because I'm afraid that I will aggravate my back again. So I've been kind of spooked about getting back in the gym.
Dang,
so I can't like
injuries
fight my demons the way I normally do,
Rachel,
So
hoodie on, headphones in, sad
it's
music.
been running. But yeah, so that's all that's up with me, guys. Don't put too much on your plate.
Yeah.
Tell yourself that.
Do what Rachel,
But it was funny.
says, not what
and I
Rachel
told you
does.
guys this also, but when Dad was like taking his class up in Columbus, he like dropped some things off for me and he was like, how are you doing, daughter? as he does, and I'm like, I'm really stressed. And he was like, me too. And then we both listed out all the things that were stressing us out, and it was a list of like 20 items each for us, and we were like, we're the same.
Yeah,
this is
because
where
both
I
of you
get
guys
it
put it
from.
on your own plate. No one's putting it on your plate.
Yeah, and then we feel really obligated to do it, and then we feel bad about dropping certain responsibilities because there are people depending on us to complete those things.
Yes.
I think consulting fundamentally changed my mindset on taking on more things. I learned to say no because I was just like, this isn't helping me to say yes for everything because I'm just sad and overworked and burnt out.
I think it's different for...
I mean, yeah, because like for work, like it's just boosting the bottom line and like, yeah, you might get
there's
more
no like
visibility.
mission or morale behind it.
Yeah, that's true. But like that has carried over to other parts of my life where I'm like, I don't really feel like taking this on. But yeah, I guess yours has a morale to it, so you're doing good in the world. Better person than I am.
I think. Oh, go ahead.
Sorry, one last comment. I've been dealing with some weird microaggressions lately also.
Like towards you?
I told you guys about that one kid who was like, oh, I thought you were a 5th generation Asian.
Oh wow.
Who said that to you? Who said that to you? Like what kid? Like what's the context?
I don't think you told me.
What did no, you didn't tell us this.
Oh. So he's
5th
a veteran
generation.
white non-traditional student.
He's a veteran? He's like an older student.
Well, he's like 24 maybe. Like he's not super old.
Okay, so still younger than us.
But was like stationed in Afghanistan, and I don't know. I've had some weird, like I actually spoke to the advisor of the club today about like some issues that we were having, and this kid came up in our conversation where we were like, we don't know what he's doing. Like he's a good member overall. He just kind of like doesn't listen to other people, which isn't great. Anyways, but yeah, he was like, oh, I thought you were, when I said that like my parents immigrated here from China. I forget how we got to this conversation anyways, but he was like, oh, I thought you were a 5th generation Asian. You're really well assimilated. And I went,
dang.
I know you mean this as a compliment, but I'm really taking it as an insult. And like internally, I was just twitching. And I vented to you guys about the one director of this one nonprofit that I work with also.
Yes.
But we did like a Lunar New Year celebration with like a bunch of kids on Friday. We had to push it back due to like some scheduling issues on their end. And I will say like props to her. She put in a lot of effort to like deck out the space with like the lanterns and banners and like a lot of stuff. So I like really appreciate her for that. She also like was able to gather a lot of foods that I was like, oh, these are like traditionally eaten during the Chinese New Year or during, and so I appreciate her for that. She was like, oh, I'm gonna play this video about China before you guys present on like traditions of the Lunar New Year. I think it tells some hard truths about communism. And I went,
okay,
not the xenophobia. Like I didn't. And then she was like, yeah, I think it'll be good because it'll give the hard truths of communism, and then you guys can come in and be like, and Lunar New Year and lighten the mood. And I went,
what the?
Oh, what?
She is just so like socially unaware. And I don't know. I mean, I feel like a lot of people like her are like that, and they just think they're just living in their own world and have no idea what impact of what they're saying is having on other people.
Yeah. I was like really off put, but again, I appreciate everything else that she did. It's just like sometimes she makes comments that I'm just like, none of this is like PC.
Yeah.
But I don't even know if I appreciate the sentiment because there's obviously a lot of like baked in ignorance with that.
Yeah.
But anyways,
I think that's part of being
some people
in
that I work
Ohio.
Yeah, the thing is,
No,
it's tough
but
because I think all these people mean, or they think they mean well, and that's the problem with the ignorance. Like they just don't know. Like the person who said you're really well assimilated, for a fact, if you could look into his head, he's like, wow, I'm gonna give this girl a compliment. Wow, she's so well assimilated.
she's so American.
She's so whitewashed.
Freak.
Is what you heard.
No, for real. I was like,
Yeah.
my biggest fear.
But the thing is, it really depends on your context. Like I can behave like a true American. Like I can pretend like I bleed red, white, and blue. Like yeah, exactly.
Eagle icon. American flag, American flag, American flag.
Like, and my
My
roommate
pronouns are red, white, and blue.
Anyways, it's almost like code switching. Like if we're with people that we feel like we need to like turn up our well assimilated side, we can do that. And my roommate does that a lot. And so my roommate is gay, and whenever he works in the hospital, he just like puts on his straight male voice. He just like goes a little deeper, and then like
Wait, I kind of.
and it just like commands more respect from people. The problem with that though is he's a pretty tall, handsome guy. He's like, when I do that, like my women patients will just all start hitting on me. He's like, I think I'm really selling this straight, this like straight character a little too much. And he's like, oh, and then sometimes I have to dial up the gay side in order to be like, oh yeah, just by the way.
Bestie boo.
Yeah. But yeah, like sometimes you have to. I feel like people who don't have a side of them that isn't traditionally accepted in society, like they don't have to think about code switching. But like that's something that I feel like I've even have to, especially just in Ohio. I feel like in Ohio I can't always be the truest version of myself. I have to turn up this side of me that I feel like will be accepted by people around me. And that's probably why your classmate was like, oh,
I
wow,
think,
she's
honestly,
so well assimilated.
At this point, with like, I don't know, I feel like I don't really care anymore about presenting a certain way. Like sometimes when the woman who I was talking about earlier, when she talks to me, like I will just like blatantly just like not give positive responses to her. Like I don't really care about being the most polite person to her, because like I'll put on face, right? But it's not like I'll be like, oh yeah, like thank you, and like I think that's a great idea, whatever. I'm just like, okay.
This idea sucks.
Sure. Some like I also called her out on, she kept calling it Chinese New Year, and I was like, oh, I want to be clear also. I always refer to it as Lunar New Year, just to be more inclusive of all the cultures that celebrate it, even though we are spotlighting China as a part of this activity. I think it's really important to reference it as Lunar New Year.
Yeah.
So it's like,
valid.
I don't know. I am kind of sick and tired of just like I don't know, maybe I should have been to that guy and been like, I know you meant that as a compliment, but it is high-key insulting.
But then you have to, if you say that, you have to explain to him why, and like
yeah,
there's like no
Depends if you
no
want
point
to
I don't
in
want to
putting
talk about
in
it.
effort. Yeah.
Just it's insulting. You can think about it.
Yeah.
Think about it. Yeah.
All right. We have some questions from our Discord members. I'm gonna hard pivot here. Okay, actually, this one's not from our one of our listeners. It's just something that Andrew and I have been talking about, and it's this idea of transitioning to an abundance mindset. And I think this is true for not just money, but also time. Like, I think you should be more generous to yourself with your time as well, like giving yourself time to play, you know? And I feel like that's something that Rachel doesn't do that good of a job of, because she just fills her time up with non-play and stress activities.
It's not always like this. It's just in these past 2 weeks.
I know, but I think in general, like, this is a mindset.
My storage is full again right after we clapped.
I had to use my brain at work today. It's crazy. Oh, wait, we couldn't cut this part out.
Sad.
I had to think. I had to really think.
Dang.
Just running a crazy query.
All right.
Okay.
I have a situation. If you were buying airplane tickets to go on a trip with your friends, and everyone's meeting up at the airport and then like driving to whatever your Airbnb, and you found two sets of tickets. One ticket that's $20 more expensive, and that will get you there 30 minutes after everyone has arrived. Or there's a ticket that you can buy that's like $20 cheaper, but sorry, I messed up the scenario. There's a set of tickets that gets you to arrive later, but they're $20 cheaper. So the cheaper tickets has you arrive 30 minutes after everyone. Or you can get tickets that are $20 more expensive, but you arrive when everyone else arrives. Do you save the $20 to arrive 30 minutes later and have your friends wait for you for 30 minutes at the airport? Or do you get the ones that are $20 more expensive and then you get there at the same time and then you can all get to the Airbnb a little quicker? Which one would you choose?
See, it's kind of 30 minutes is pretty short in the grand scheme of things.
I agree.
Okay.
There's
And
like a couple
depending
things
on where you are in the airport, like chances are you might just end up in this like meeting up around the same time anyway.
Like if people are checking their bags, or if you're only doing carry-on, you might be able to get there faster.
Okay, say everybody is getting the same thing, but luggage will arrive at the same time. It's purely just you're going to make them wait 30 minutes.
Then you pay $20, I think, in my opinion. But I am at a different part of my life where before I don't know if I'd say the same.
All right, Rachel.
I also feel like $20 is not that big of a deal. Like
Really?
I think it was like $40. That
No, it was.
I'd probably.
It was like $20.
This is not a hypothetical.
This is a real life situation.
This is
So
a real
you're
life
saying-
situation.
Yeah, I was like, these are real specific numbers in a real specific scenario right now.
Yeah. So the real scenario that happened was several years ago. Me and my ex-girlfriend's family were going skiing in Colorado. And it was like with a bunch of her family and then some of her family friends. And when we were buying tickets, I was like, oh, I'm just going to buy the tickets that are like $20 cheaper. I know it gets in a little later, but like you guys don't mind like waiting for me, right? And then we got into this huge argument because she was like, why don't you just get there when everyone else gets there? Like it's only $20. And
Well, I think that's a little bit.
I'm not gonna lie. I might side with your ex on this one. I was
no.
If,
I do
yeah.
too now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
No. I completely agree. But back then, I had even less money than I do now, and I was like, $20 to me just meant the world. I don't know why. Back in those days, I was just like
That's
scrounging.
1.5 hours of work.
I mean, that's true.
It's
That's
I was
20
scrounging
chickens
for
back in
every
those
dollar
days.
that I could get. But looking back, I'm like, oh, like $20 spent.
Just
I mean, I ended up
a meal.
spending the extra $20 because I was like, I came around. But at the time, I just remember standing my ground and being like, you just don't have the same philosophy when it comes to spending as me. Like, you don't understand what it's like to be poor. But
That's
I mean,
true.
the thing is, like, I almost took.
Guys,
I took
we're
so
not
much.
that poor though.
I mean, yes and no. At that point, I was like 1 year out of college, and I didn't want to be dependent on mom and dad anymore. So like, I made as much money as I did from my post-bac position, which was like $28K a year, which is very little. And I was living in DC, paying DC rent, and so money was like, it wasn't. I didn't have an abundant amount of it, and so yeah, I almost took pride in the fact that I was like stingy. I was like, yeah, like
Frugal.
Why? Yeah, sorry. Yes, I took pride in the fact that I was frugal. I was like, this is how I was raised. Like, we have always been like trying to save pennies here and there, and that's just what you have to do when you're not born into an abundantly wealthy family. And then I guess now looking back on what I was like back then, it gives me such an ick. Nowadays I overcompensate, I think, a little too much, because I'm just like,
you need to save money.
yeah, I know, I do. I'm just like, wow, I hate the person in a group that isn't willing to spend a little extra for the overall convenience of the group, or like the overall enhancement of an experience. just because they're trying to be selfish and save themselves a couple dollars. And at the end of the day, it's not gonna affect the outcome of their like financial situation that much. And yeah, that's something that I learned. I mean, I've noticed about myself recently, and I think Andrew also used to have it really bad. I think Andrew had it almost the worst out of all of us prior to maybe just the recent year or two.
I remember one time my friend texted me and was like, "Why is Andrew Venmo requesting you for groceries?"
Because you got groceries that I bought. Wouldn't do that anymore. I went through an entire year of saving $0. Yep. Frugal. I was also pretty honestly, I'm still pretty conservative with my finances. Less so, but like I would still buy the cheapest cereal that's on sale. I'll buy the thing that has the lowest percent unit cost. That has not changed.
Yeah, but I think
I've learned to splurge a little bit more.
The frugality extended to much more. Yeah. I think there are places where you can be frugal, but when it comes to other people now, my philosophy has changed so much. Like,
I think this is the thing. Yeah, I still, and I don't think I will change this part of me. I still won't pay for convenience, low key. I've run back home multiple times instead of calling like a $5, $10 Uber.
I think that's different though, because you frame it as fun exercise activity.
Yeah,
so it's
that's
not
true.
Really that
I
big
frame
of
it in my mind as fun. Yeah,
for you.
That's true.
Yeah.
It's not an inconvenience, but like I won't. Yeah, that's true. I just framed that as fun. There, like I went to a game night, and two of my friends were Ubering, so I just joined their Uber, and instead of adding my stop, I just hopped off at one of the person's stops and just ran a mile home at 2 a.m.
You can do that in New York. As a guy.
Yeah, that's the thing.
I think you can.
Yeah, that's the male
I was gonna
privilege,
say
too.
man privileges.
Yeah,
that is.
I would
peak
never
male
feel
privilege.
safe doing
Yes.
that. As
You
a
should
woman.
never do
you
that.
should not. Yeah, Rachel, do not. And that's why I call Rachel her Ubers.
Yeah.
Thanks, Andrew, funding my life in New York.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, say something. What was I gonna say?
Oh, you know what? I have started spending money on convenience. You know what I did? I paid an extra like $60 on like a 5-hour flight for more leg room. I did do that. Wow.
That's crazy.
Dang.
More
that
leg
actually
room?
was pretty
Good
crazy
for you, Andrew.
because that was solely for myself. I will say
Dang.
like that was another thing because I would always buy the cheapest plane tickets wherever I was going. I'm like, planes leaving ass crack of dawn at 4 a.m.
What about
still do that.
layovers? I think layovers is my cutoff. If there's like a 24-hour, like if there's 2 connecting flights and like 24 hours
I've done
of
a
layovers,
7-hour layover before.
Well, layovers, you have to factor in the fact that like if it's 24 hours, you have to find somewhere to stay overnight, which is also an additional cost.
Yeah,
Also
but what if
cost.
they're all like separately? It's like 3 to 4 hours each. So like realistically, you could
Lord.
stay up.
God,
Where are you flying to, Rachel?
I don't
Dude,
know. There's
I
some
think the
really terrible
farthest I can
flights to
fly.
like Seattle.
Oh, it's the Seattle.
Oh, Seattle.
Yeah.
A 24-hour layover. Sounds terrible.
But broken up over like 5 flights.
But I will say, when I flew back home, this is probably the most I've ever paid. It was $12 difference from like it was leaving Cincinnati Airport at 7 in the morning. That was like the $100 cheaper, or noon. And then I chose the noon flight. That was like a little over $100 more, just because I was just like, I'd also have the inconvenience mom and dad to get up at like 5 or 6 with me to drive me to CBG, or pay like a $50 Uber. And at that point, I was just like, screw it.
Yeah.
I can spend more time with the family, sleep in. But I don't think I'd ever do that before college.
I mean, it is also a product of the fact that you make money now. I think having an abundance mindset is like
Comes with having abundance.
comes with having abundance, but like it's the problem comes where, well, there's problems on both ends. If you have if you maintain your scarcity mindset, even when you have abundance, that I think that's where one side of the problem comes. But then the other side of the problem is when you have an abundance mindset and you don't have money. And I actually really respect people like that, because I know some really generous people that will pay for things even though they don't. Well, I guess I don't necessarily know their financial situation, but I just remember like in college, I mean, everyone knows who Nick is, but like my really good friend Nick, he like has always had this abundance mindset. Like he didn't let money get in the way of like him having a good time with his friends. So he would go out, buy everyone drinks, buy everyone like insomnia cookies. And I saw him, I was like, dude, I would never do that. Like, it's so irresponsible. Like, where is all this money? And like, he comes from like a very middle class family and not too different from our own. I will say he's probably a little more spoiled by his parents, but he just has always had this like abundance mindset of like, I'm not going to let money come in the way of me having a good time with my friends. And I think because of that, a lot of our friend group became really close with him because he had this easygoing mindset. And yeah, he was just always a fun time to be around because he never let money be the barrier to him having a good time. Okay, let's go into a couple of these questions and then we can
Hard pivot.
These are
there's
nuts.
more.
Pivot.
Oh, this wasn't that. Yeah, that was just my thing that I wanted to talk about. All right.
Get some things off his chest.
I'm horizontaling.
Okay. I think I had this conversation with another one of my college friends recently, and Angel Z on our Discord asked us this question.
Oh, also, does anyone have any tips for getting rid of fruit flies? I've been having a bit of a fruit fly.
It's definitely your plant.
Apple cider vinegar.
Yeah.
Apple cider vinegar, dish soap.
I know who the culprits are.
You're probably overwatering one of your plants.
It's this one. But it's because it hasn't been growing. It lost all of its leaves. And I think the fruit flies are now eating the roots.
Eating the dead parts, yeah.
Like, I think it can't grow because of the fruit flies, but I also cannot repot it because it is not the season that would be conducive to it growing and not being angry at me. So
throw it away.
Apple cider vinegar, sugar, dish soap.
But
the
then
sticky
I have to ask
pads
my
on
friend
Amazon.
for more propagations.
But the thing is that doesn't get rid of the root problem being the roots.
True. Yeah, that's true. You're just gonna consistently have fruit
I've
flies
been
until you
like
repot
continually putting like peppermint essential oils and cinnamon. I don't know.
But it's not working.
It's that I don't know. I think it's a deeper rooted issue than. Anyways, continue with your next question.
Okay, if you can't find the right partner.
Oh, lovely.
In your
relationship questions.
In your, that's what people like to ask us. Okay.
I'm so cynical.
With our years of experience, of collective experience of what? 3 years?
Hey, we might be bumping that up. Might be bumping that up. Anywho,
who you referring to?
Are you okay with being alone forever if you can't find the right problem? A problem.
The problem.
Freudians. Are you okay with being
relationships are just problems?
Are you okay with being alone forever if you can't find the right partner? If not, how will you handle it? Will you lower your standards, make compromises, or marry someone who fits but doesn't ignite that passionate love?
Dang.
I think this is an easy question for me to answer. I would just go the alone route. I think
really,
I feel very fulfilled.
Think realistically.
Yes.
You would actually be alone forever, like not start a family?
I genuinely, when I'm alone, like when I've been single, I have never had an ounce of desire to be in a relationship. Like I very quickly forget that that's like I think the only thing that I've ever felt pressure by to like be in a relationship is societal. Like I don't think there's an innate desire for me to find the one true one. Blah,
How
blah,
about
blah,
this?
blah.
How about this?
And also
go ahead.
And also I think I feel very fulfilled by my friendships also. And a lot of my friends are in relationships. And I know like one of the biggest worries is, but when you grow up, people are going to like not spend as much time with you.
Yeah,
they're going to have families. Yeah, sure. Maybe then I'll be like, oh, but I wish. But I think I've compromised enough on my own. Like, I think I would rather adjust
be alone.
to life by myself than have to lower my standards, be with someone who I know
you tolerate
who doesn't like accept me fully or like like fits in with my life. Because if I'm by myself, like I can be perfectly happy, silly, goofy, do whatever the hell I want to do. If there's another person that like does not entertain my silly goofiness, I don't want them. You know what I mean?
Dang, that's crazy. It's crazy that you have this mindset, and I wonder if Philip and John also have this mindset because they have like no interest in the opposite gender. But
and also children.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean,
but you never know.
yeah.
I feel like Rachel was always like this. She was always like this when she was in high school
Rachel
as well.
was always like this.
But I am not like
that.
To
be clear, yeah.
To be clear, what?
No.
What do you clear what?
Keep going. Never mind.
Okay.
Yeah, I cannot picture myself not having a family and like a romantic partner in my future. So my friend was recently asking me, because he was like, yeah, you've been single for like almost 2 years now, and like he's like, why is that? And I'm like, yeah,
I'm really calling you out.
Huh? Well,
Saying?
no, it didn't. He didn't say it exactly like that. We were just
Jesse gets no bitches.
dang,
Exclamation mark?
dang. No, it's the opposite problem. I don't
It's
wanna.
true.
No, but it is true, kind of.
Jesse gets no bitches.
Dang. That's not how I wanted this conversation to go.
Sorry.
But he was okay. Anyways, he was basically like, "Oh, like I think your standards are just too high." But he's like, "You can afford to do that, like when you're young, because you have more time to like find that person, and like during that time, you know what? Why not have a high standard? Like why not just turn down everything that doesn't meet your standards and yeah, just be single." But he was like, yes, like that's an okay mindset to have, but the chances of things working out with that mindset are very low. It's like kind of a risk that you have to take. Like to find your dream partner, like right off the bat, you're like, this person is it. I think that's very rare. And he's like, yeah, it happened to my parents. Like they realized they were like head over heels over each other, and they got married like 3 months after. They're just like, wow, you are the person. And I want to marry
3 months?
you.
Oh my God.
Different times, but it is it. But he's like, yeah,
Same
that.
with mom and dad. It was like 2 months for them.
Yeah, but it wasn't a love at first sight kind of thing in their case.
Yeah,
it was more
Nah.
situational. But it worked out. It worked out. It worked out. And then I don't know. And then he's like, statistically, events like that happening are super rare these days. And for the most part, it's not that people are settling, but people are getting into relationships with people that might not necessarily meet all their boxes, and at the beginning they might not be head over heels for them.
I think we now also have more boxes because of social media and just media in general.
And that makes it harder for people to meet those expectations.
There's like weird societal definitions of what relationships should look like, what gender norms are, what your partner should be doing for you. I just think those have set expectations unnecessarily high.
That's so
It's
true.
also the paradox of options too, because
yes,
I feel like a lot of people are always looking for the next best thing too, which is also perpetuated by having access to social media.
Yeah, that's it's really toxic, because I feel like back in the day, like you didn't know what else was out there. So when you met someone that was like met most of your boxes, the like 3 boxes that you would have back then, you're like, wow, like I'm gonna marry this person. But now we're like, I'm starting to realize there are multiple people that could meet the same number of boxes, and I have access to them all because of the internet. So that's making me be like, oh, I have really high standards now, and maybe unnecessarily high, where I don't meet anyone that I feel like I want to date. But then my friend was like, basically, so are you okay with like being in your late 30s, and at that point, like you're gonna have to like lower your standards? Like, are you just gonna lower your standards at that point, just marry someone that you don't feel like, or do you want to like, I guess in both cases you're still lowering your standards, but lowering your standards sounds so bad. Like there's got to be a better way to phrase it, but like
I think it's just like making your standards more realistic.
Same thing though.
Same
I'm not gonna
thing.
lie.
Yeah, that's
the
just
same. I mean, you're right. You're right,
for
Rachel.
lowering your
I
standards.
think some people just like
You can't have everything.
have higher standards with no like basis behind it. You know what I mean?
Like,
You're
like
not
if
good
you're
enough to
a
demand these
shit
statistics.
person and you're having these extraordinarily high standards, like, yeah, no shit, you're not gonna find anyone.
damn, are you trying to say that about me?
Hint, hint. No bitches. Just kidding. No, I'm just kidding. No, definitely not at you. I just know that there are some like kind of sometimes people can be delusional in that way.
Yeah.
Or like they
Yeah.
won't treat people well unless they're treated well first, but it's kind of not
Mm.
how that one works.
Oh yeah, no. That's not my mindset at all. It's just that like if
Yeah. I'm just speaking generally.
we've kind of talked about this in other podcasts, but I've been like, oh, like if I can't see myself marrying you, like after the first time we meet, like what's even the point of pursuing this relationship? But like I think I'm now, after that conversation with my friend, I'm like, I'm more willing to try a relationship that is very compatible, but I might not necessarily see myself marrying the person and still growing together, because I think that growth is actually what makes a relationship valuable, and it's not that initial spark necessarily that makes a relationship valuable.
This brings me back to a conversation that I had with my friends, and this is when I texted, do guys think that other guys are ugly?
I was at a dinner and I pulled that up and I just started cracking up. I'm just
Like, why is Rachel asking? Well, we thought we knew why, but
Rachel.
Stop.
no, sorry.
Anyways, but I think for girls, a lot of the time, I think the trope of girls will kind of, you know, be with guys that are objectively a little less attractive, but like while the girl is in the relationship, they don't see it that way. Like they think that because they have good personal qualities, this is a conclusion that me and my friend came to, they become a lot more attractive in your eyes. Because she was like, yeah, when I was talking to this guy, I thought he was like the hottest guy ever. Now that like shit has gone down, I look back, I go, what the hell?
Why didn't you guys say anything?
Yeah. And it's like with her ex also, she was like, yeah, like when I was with him, when we were talking, like I genuinely thought he was like the most handsome person ever. And I asked like one of my other friends recently, and she was like, I mean, he's just a guy. Like he's not like, you know, off the charts with anything. But is that the same way for guys? Like, do you find girls more attractive after you've spent time with them?
Really quick, the short answer to that is yes. But I wanted to ask, for those friends that you're talking about, did they initially find them attractive before knowing them? Or did they get to know them before they even had that thought? I don't know.
Well,
How do
okay,
you-
so the one specific example I'm talking about, they were friends before. And she always, no, I'm not going to say always. She's kind of like,
She always thought he was cute, or always thought he was ugly.
she'll always find guys initially like attractive.
Oh, yeah, all guys?
Before she
Wait,
Like most guys that she has
okay.
some kind of interest
I
in.
see.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, for guys, God bless women for looking past physicality, because I feel like men generally are not very presentable and aren't really attuned to.
They're crusty and ugly.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's definitely the
kidding.
case. And women just look past that a lot of the times, which is great. But for guys, I do feel like the amount of weight that's placed on the initial attraction and then continued physical attraction throughout the relationship is actually also important. I think if and I'm just going to be brutally honest, I think if I lose physical attraction with my partner throughout a relationship, I don't think that's happened to me before. I think that, well, I don't know. I've never been in that situation, but I do feel like it would take away from the love in that relationship.
Like, what if your partner gets into a tragic accident and like half of their face gets burned off?
I've thought about this before. I just haven't loved
Wow.
someone that hard before. So like, I feel like I can. I want to be in a
Dang.
situation.
So you have to reach a love threshold. So you're gonna be that bitch and be like, I don't love you
But
enough.
what if you're
ugly
2 weeks
now,
into
I'm
dating?
dropping you.
Yeah, there is a threshold though. Yeah, what if you're 2 weeks
I think
into
so.
the relationship?
And you like barely
I'm
know
not
the
speaking
person.
2
so-
weeks.
Okay. Oh, what if you're 2 years in the
Oh,
relationship?
but that would still be an asshole
That would
thing
still
to
be
do.
an asshole move. Yeah, I mean, you can't leave them at 2 weeks. Yeah, either. Oh man.
I think you can. No.
Well, not like
Well, because
just
then
ghost
she's gonna
disappear.
label
I
you
think-
as the guy who dumped her because
Left.
she got into a tragic accident and got her.
accident.
But
Oh
you're
my
literally
God.
just staying with
Off.
you're literally just staying with them because you don't want her to label you
went on,
that,
like-
which is not a true genuine.
But
I want to
also,
stay.
like, you're not even looking past the physical aspect and wanting to get to know them as a person and find all the lovable qualities about this person. That's kind of fucked, Jesse.
After watching Love
is,
is
but-
Blind, though, Love is absolutely not blind, is what
The
I've
thing is,
learned.
yeah, it's facts though. If you don't, I mean, this
Like,
is not even just generalizable to guys. I think women too. Like, if there's no, especially in the beginning of the relationship,
God.
like if there's not that physical attraction, it's very hard to start.
I think
falling
some
in love.
guys can woo women over, though.
Huh?
I think
I
some
lose
guys
half
can
my
like
face.
woo women.
Just the ski accident, I had to get just half my face was gone. Surgical reconstruction. It's like I don't.
Andrew, what are
I-
you
I
talking
don't-
about?
Well, I'm just saying. I don't. Dang.
No, I think women, if looks is genuinely the only thing, that's something that I feel like
It wouldn't last.
some girls could look over. Like, if
Yeah.
it's just looks, they're
Oh, no, no, no.
persistent, they have phenomenal qualities, like,
I think
what the hell?
I think a lot of guys or a lot of girls are like that. I actually know a specific case of this actually happening. I met this guy in Canada, and he got into like a tragic accident when he was traveling in London. You guys can look him up. I'll maybe post it in the description. But basically, he got jumped in London. He basically got his head bashed into a curb, robbed, and he basically half his brain was spilling out of his head. He got complete cranial reconstructive surgery. He looks completely different from what he looked before. But at that point, he was dating a girl for not even that long. It was like maybe a couple years, a year or two.
I think that's the threshold. Yeah.
And it was like they're both like super attractive. The girl's super attractive, guy's super attractive. And then after the accident, obviously, not only did his look change, a lot of his motor functions are impaired, a lot of his speech functions were impaired. And the girl decided to stay with him. And I think they're married now, but
Wow.
she
That's
basically
beautiful.
turned this whole story into like millions of TikTok followers. So like she like
Guys, my
okay.
storage is full again.
oh my god. All right,
Should
we'll
I
just
just give up? Can we wrap up soon?
yeah, we can wrap
We've
up
been going
soon.
for almost 2 hours.
So essentially she stayed with him. Like they started this whole TikTok account of how like he rehabbed all of his functions, and she was just like 100% supportive of everything that
Dang.
he was going through. And it was super inspiring story, because a lot of people put into that shoe would probably be like, oh, like it's not worth, because like not only does like
not even
he
just
looked
physical
different,
looks,
it's like
it's- yeah.
he's functionally dependent on her. Like her entire life became like my identity
Take
now
care
is
of
like
him.
a caretaker for this guy now.
Mm.
Like she shifted her entire life to just be with him. That, I mean, crazy
dang.
story. But yeah, I hope I'm never put in that situation, and I hope the person, if it's my wife, obviously I'm gonna stay with her.
Yeah.
I've just never
yes.
built a relationship up to the point where I'd be like confident in saying that I will be. But I hope that love is out there for me in the future. So hard to say.
I concur.
Yeah.
Andrew, what's your answer to the question?
Oh, I agree with Jesse. I mean, I had to think. I think though there is a threshold, right? Like if you've gone on like 2-3 dates, it's gonna be
Oh
tough.
no, not
no.
the attractiveness thing. The one where are you
Like,
alone?
would you be alone forever?
forever, or are you lowering your
Oh.
standards?
Honestly, I actually might be alone forever because, hold up, this is my thought process. I would keep on looking until I found somebody, and if I never find that somebody, then I'm just gonna be.
Oh, yeah, you just never give
Like,
up the search.
Yeah, I'll never give up the search. Like I'll just always be looking. Yeah.
Andrew,
but what-
65, retired.
But But wouldn't that be draining
Still
though?
doesn't have.
I'd go
Like in defeating and hope.
Probably.
You don't think
But,
you would
like, I
ever
think
give
I'd
up at any point and just be like, oh, I'm just going to lower my standards and just be with someone?
Maybe like 65, 70, and we're just like cruising for the next like decade until like a travel buddy. But like I think in my 30s, 40s, 50s, there'd be bouts. I think I'd like probably take a couple years off of like not looking and just doing other things in my life. But I think I probably won't settle until it's like, all right, I guess I'm almost about to hit the can. Like, I kind of just want to travel the world a little bit with somebody. I'm like, you free to just fly over to like this part of the country or the world with me?
The start of Andrew being a sugar daddy.
Well, no, it'd be
Someone
like
of the
another
same
like
age.
65 retired
Also
grandma
rich,
as well.
of course.
I guess she wouldn't be a grandma if she's. Well, actually, I don't know. Okay, anyways.
Dang, I have another question that I want to ask, but I don't know if it's worth asking if Rachel doesn't have her.
And we're gonna clip it for the next podcast.
Yeah, I don't have
save
my
it.
video. I'm sitting in my chair, but you can ask it if you don't care to have my video.
Okay, I guess my question is, how important is it to have good banter with a partner over text specifically?
Oh.
Not super important.
What
Yeah,
if
not
you're in a
super
long
important.
distance relationship?
Also not super important.
Really? Okay.
I'm a FaceTime call type of person. I don't care if you text me. I'm not a huge fan of texting. I'm gonna be
I
straight
think
up. I
if we're
actually
in the
don't like
talking
texting.
stage,
Yeah.
I do enjoy good banter over
Mm.
text. But if we're in an established relationship,
that's true.
I lean towards FaceTime calling.
But like, you don't get to that established relationship until you like, oh wow, like our banter is good.
Does it
right?
start off long distance?
Yes. Say it starts off long distance.
Well, then in that case, I just wouldn't pursue it.
But what if your banter over the phone or in person is really good?
Then I'm just like, ah, dang, lost cause, I guess.
A word?
Why are we coming with such
unless
hyper-specific
they're super
topics?
persistent. Like, again, I'm not that motivated to be in a relationship.
True. Yeah. Okay, so texting banter is, to Andrew, is not that important because it seems like as long as you have
FaceTime. Good in
unless you
person
can call it
talking.
FaceTime.
Banter.
I don't know.
I don't like texting.
I grew up just really enjoying texting, and like I grew up in the generation where texting was a huge thing, and like when I
Google Plus messaging went crazy.
yeah, instant messaging like came about when we were kids.
AOL.
I can't believe Rachel knows what that is because I feel like that was before your
I read
time.
a book on it.
It was before our time.
Yeah, I use AOL instant messaging, but yeah, like I really like I have been in, I guess some of these not even relationships, but like I have fallen in love with people purely from texting, like a texting based relationship.
Of Catfish.
No, there's I don't think they were
You should read Everything I Know About Love by Dolly Alderton.
Okay.
Because she talks about this. She talks about developing these relationships over text as like a young adolescent and kind of how that shapes your expectations going into dating in your like mid 20s to early 30s.
Yeah.
Anyways.
That's how I developed all my crushes in like middle school and like even into high school. It was through messaging, which is really strange. Snapchat too. Wow. Yeah. It was a combination of the two.
Whoa.
Yeah. It's a huge basis for some of the relationships I had when I was young. But nowadays, you're right. The importance of texting, I feel like, has faded, but I still almost yearn for that witty banter between two people. But I honestly, I get that fulfilled with some of my like straight male relationships. So it's not, I'm like, I guess I don't really need it from my partner anymore if I can get it from that fulfillment from my friends. But yeah, I thought that was
this might sound like an asshole thing to do, but sometimes I like, playing games over text.
Oh, you mean like pigeon, like game pigeon board hunt? Wait, what?
Like banter, but it's like
manipulation games.
Like semi, but like in a not serious way, not seriously manipulating them. As in, like sometimes I would go back and edit my texts and be like, I didn't say that.
You know, you can click the
And then
edit
I'll
button
be
and see
like-
what you previously wrote.
And then I'm
Oh, you
like,
can do that. Dang.
Yeah.
I think I'm the funniest person ever. Like, I think I entertain myself through text more
Yes.
so than I'm entertaining the other person.
Honestly,
Because
a
I'm
lot
like, wow, I'm such a funny individual.
that's okay. I also have that. I think it's a little bit of the narcissistic part of me is when I have good
Yeah.
banter with someone is when I'm like at my peak
I'm popping off.
wittiness. Yeah, I'm like, damn,
I'm
that was
hitting
witty
threes. I'm
as
hitting it from half
fuck.
court.
And like
Me,
this other
so
person,
five.
this other person I'm talking to is just like laying it
Has
up
to
for
be
me.
floored by
Yeah.
floored by my humor.
And they're
I'm
also
the funniest person ever.
yeah. So it's almost a little bit to boost my own ego, but you know, having a good back and forth, I used to think was really important, but I guess it's not that important these days. Anywho,
I think
Let's-
it's entertaining, certainly.
it's really entertaining when you have good banter with someone, whether someone that you're romantically interested in or just a friend. It's a good time. I love witty banter. Witty banter. All right, let's wrap up this long pod. I'm gonna probably have to cut some things here and there, but thank you everyone
Just make
for
this into 2 episodes.
Huh? No. But anyways, thank you all for tuning in to this week's episode of the Rooftop Pod. I'm your host, Jesse, and signing. Dang. Dude, what I realized is I'm not actually that good at like oration, and the fact that we have a podcast where people listen to us orate blows my mind.
I don't think I'm that eloquent either.
Well,
I was
words
in
are
my
hard.
meeting today.
Words are
and
hard,
I was like
bro.
tripping over my
Mm.
words.
Dude,
I was like, this
stumble
is embarrassing.
so much. Yeah.
Mhm.
Like,
Like,
we're not
I tend to stumble, not when I don't have things to say, but when I have too much to say. And then I like, my brain is moving
can't
faster
catch
than my
up.
mouth.
Yeah, like your mouth
Yeah.
can't catch up to your brain. Yeah, I'm the opposite of my mouth is speaking too fast and then my brain doesn't know what next to say. So then my mouth just says random shit. Anyways, thank you guys for tuning in to our podcast, even though we're not great at
We're not
This is a strong
funny.
sign
We're
out.
not
This
good
is strong.
speakers. We're not good at giving
Why are you guys
relationship
listening to
advice.
us?
We're not good at life.
Which makes us appreciate your love and support even more because you just love us for who we
We're
are.
super unextraordinary
Wow.
people.
But yeah,
Wow.
signing out with me is my brother
Andrew.
and my sister.
Rachel.
And we will see you all on the next episode of the Rooftop Pod. Peace.
Peace.
Peace, 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 peace.